This is why my biggest reason that I will never not believe in God, that I will always believe in the power of God. This is part 2 of my story when I get ready with me about how this witch was in my dad's church and he was preaching and the Spirit of the Lord told him there was a witch in here and he told the witch to stand up. A lot of times I know y'all be seeing people on this app just talking about God and we just blah blah blah, y'all think we just be talking, but it be really our life experiences, the power of God through our life, through our own personal testimonies, or just observing and watching the power of God and the hand of God actually move forth. Now you don't see too much of this in churches of today. Why? I don't know. Y'all gotta ask God on that. These pastors, they're not fasting how they used to fast. I remember my dad, and this is not to even like super pump him up like that, but to pump him up, but not to super pump him up. But I remember my dad used to go on long fasts. He'd be on 7-day fasts, 15, 20-day fast. I remember my mama used to constantly make us fast as kids. Like, they go call on you, woman. I know we love God, but they go call on you. You ain't feeding your kid. Why I believe we used to really experience the hand of God. Like, think about Azusa Street. We ain't gonna go down what happened in Azusa Street. If you know, then you know. Some of that is before y'all time. Research. Get into this. Before I finish telling y'all the story what happened with the witch and my dad had told her to stand up, in Genesis, here's a scripture reference of like, where do these evil demonic spirits come from? And a lot of people, they question, like, is it ghosts? No, it is not ghosts. The Bible literally tells us what it is. It is spirits. And we have to date it back in Genesis 6 and 4. The Bible literally talks about supernatural creatures. However, it talks about how the Nephilims, how they were on earth from when Jesus kicked Satan out of heaven. So Jesus kicked a third of the angels. A third of the angels went with Satan. They got kicked out because they was on team with Satan, okay? The biggest story of it all, the Nephilim, when they was on earth, they began to have like an unnatural union with human women. And from that, they bear babies. A lot of people don't believe this, but this is like in the book of Enoch. You can really study it. If you know, then you know. But in Genesis, it talks about the fall of Satan and a third of angels and the Nephilims, they were on earth. Matter of fact, let me read the scripture. The Nephilim were on earth in those days and also afterward when the sons of God went to the daughters of men and had children by them. That's y'all proof for my Bible scholars. So then that's where we get spirits. That's where we get goblins and goblins. That's what I call them, goblins and goblins, okay? And so they come in different forms of different spirits. And mind you, they need a house. So I'm not going to go into all of that. They need a house. So a lot of times that's how you get spirits and demonic spirits inside of people. Anyway, so back to the story. So my dad was preaching super hard and he just stopped in his tracks. Was like, it's a witch in here. And if you want deliverance, come up to the front. So she comes up to the front. Go see my get ready with me because I'll tell you the beginning of the story. So she comes up to the thing. And my dad's like, do you want deliverance? He's looking at this spirit in the face because apparently she was like a witch. Like, I don't know how in depth to go into it, but she was like a full witch. Y'all know what witches do. And there's no good or bad witches. There's witches. There's no good or bad. I'm sick of that spirit too. Anyway, so she goes up to the front. My dad begins to pray with her. At this time, everything was so quick because you have to understand when spirits begin to manifest outwardly, they only manifest, and I only know this because I grew up in a deliverance church. My dad always taught on a 5-fold ministry. Anyway, so I think they didn't have enough time to get all the kids out. Somehow I ended up staying in the church, child. I don't know how I pulled that one out, but because I wanted to see, I was like, what is happening with this lady and this witch? My dad is laying hands on her. He's like, do you want deliverance? She reluctantly saying, yeah, but then the spirits began to manifest. And I think they began to manifest so quick, they couldn't get all the kids out. Why do they take the kids out of the church? Because sometimes kids are innocently, unknowingly, and when demons demons and spirits are casted out of people, the Bible instructs us, there's a scripture that says that it goes seeking for another house. It needs a body to be able to live and to be alive. It needs a house. So they send the kids out so the spirit don't be running into kids, because that happened before in my dad's church before. My sister got that story. I don't got that story. Ever heard spirits be transferring? That's prime example of how they be transferring out of people. So anyway, so I'm watching, and next thing I know, my dad has a lot of elders, because when you begin to pray, it depends on the level of the spirit that you're dealing with, and that's a whole nother conversation. So anyway, my dad is praying, and something happened. The lady began to manifest like she had fell on the floor and started kind of acting like a dog almost, or something like that, weird, or a snake or something. I can't really remember exactly what it was. I really wasn't trying to look either. I was looking like, child, I'm supposed to be out with the kid. I don't got enough time, so I got to wrap this up. So make a long story short, one of the elders tried to help my dad in the middle of it. And when he picked the lady up, because she like was falling out doing stuff, when he picked her up, it threw him by surprise, and he looked at the lady's face, and apparently on her face, because if you know the spirit realm, you are able, if you are in the spirit, you're able to see. Sometimes they'll manifest and sit on people's faces. I've had that happen to me sitting in the church service. That's a whole nother conversation. Okay, so the guy, he like picked her up, and he must have gotten scared, I don't know, startled, and he looked and dropped the lady. So my dad's looking at him, and my dad is like, hey, anybody that can't handle this, you need to get far away. But my dad was saying it in more of a spiritual protective way, because that's how spirits love when you are in fear. That's one of the things. If you ever come up against a demonic spirit, they love when you are in fear. Their tactic is to scare you and try to, what is it called? Intimidate you, basically. My dad is trying to cast the spirit out of this woman because she wants to be set free. The elder getting startled, sir, you need to go sit down. You don't need to be up here. Go in the back with the kids at this point. It was a whole fiasco, okay? You got one elder that can't handle it. You go out with the kids, please, sir. The lady is falling out, manifesting. My dad is trying to cast the demon out and make sure the demon ain't floating into other folks. It was a whole catastrophe, okay? At the end of the day, I was too young to even have the capacity to understand if the lady was fully set free and delivered, because sometimes people be having multiple spirits. You can only deal with one, some be hiding. It just be a whole lot going on. So make a long story short, next thing I know, service just went on, and my dad just continued preaching, and I was looking like, oh, this is interesting. Can we have more of this guy? We need more deliverances taking place. I want y'all to know that is a normal day in a deliverance church. You don't know what you're going to experience. Which stand up. Oh, I want deliverance. Kids go out. Literally. That's normal. I have a lot of other stories. I feel like my sister has more stories than me because she was more into, I was a teenager trying to kick it, leave the church, go around the corner, go get snacks. So y'all said y'all want a story time. So that was part 2 of my Get Ready With Me story time of the witch standing up, wanting deliverance. And I never seen her after that. So I hope she really got fully delivered. I never seen her after that. I don't know. She didn't start coming to the church or anything. She just got like delivered and set free, and that was it. So that was another interesting story. But I feel like she came for a purpose to disrupt the service, but then ended up getting delivered, and I don't know. Maybe that was the purpose. So that's the story. Hope y'all liked it.